Okay, it looks like we're live on YouTube now. So, good evening, everybody. This is Dustin Coyner from Track Days here in Southern California, and I'm on with the Superbike genius himself, Richard Stanboli of Attack Performance Yamaha.
Hey, Dustin.
Lean Attack Performance Yamaha.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. It's season's over now, so we can Attack Yamaha. There we go. Right?
Yeah, that's it. Season's over. I guess not really over till end of October. Usually is when those contracts end. But
yeah,
check out this new Acro book, man. This thing's freaking cool. They just sent it to me. The 30-year anniversary book. And it's got, can you see it from there?
Yeah, I can see it.
It's got so much stuff in here with everything that those guys, like here's Koenigsegg, you know, the crazy car developer guy. Look at another bald guy. Bald guys rule.
Yeah, it's like the bald guy.
They're very smart. Bald guys are smart.
Shiny.
And then you got, I mean, check out the tip on this exhaust pipe. I mean, this is just such a cool book. I can sit here and stare at this thing forever.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so you go ahead. I'm going to keep looking at this book.
Yeah, great, Richard. Well, so flying to Alabama was interesting, but man, that racetrack it's really something there. That was my first time to Barber. So
really?
Yeah. So, I mean, immediately driving in, I'm like, where am I? We're in California. All of our racetracks are in the middle of nowhere in the desert or whatever. And then
they're barely, they're in the desert and they have rocks and dirt. And that's what you're used to, like Willow Springs, Buttonwillow, Chuckwalla, rocks and dirt. Yeah, no, I mean, Barber is like a first-rate facility. I just wish the track was a little bigger. If they would have taken, I guess they had some problems getting all the property. That is a track that size. That's what I hear. And so if they would have taken that back straightaway, extended it into where the go-kart track is, and then brought it back, that would make that thing pretty cool. It's pretty decent lap time.
It's interesting that you say that because, I actually spent most of the day Friday just messing around in that museum. And I actually said that to one of those staff in there, and they're like, oh yeah, like before COVID, they had a project that they were working on to extend the track and add like a mile or so to the layout. And then COVID happened, and then everything's on pause. Just like
really, they're gonna extend it. That's what they're thinking.
That's what the guy said. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I know they added to the museum. That's what the banquet was on the added part. I hadn't been in there since, I don't know, 2008 or something.
Yeah.
Never have time, it seems like. I'm always at the racetrack and gotta go, and never have time to look at anything.
Yeah. So, obviously the museum at Barber is insane. Like I literally spent most of the day Friday in there. And like I said, the staff were super nice. And they're like, hey, it's not busy right now. Come check out the bridge, So I went out, Jake was trying to get me to go out there, and I guess you have to have a membership there to get out there.
Oh, okay.
And they're like, nobody cares. There's nobody here. Come on, go check it out. And so I actually walked out there, saw Bigfoot,
Nobody was trying to throw you off over the bridge, were they?
Nobody was trying. Well, I mean, there was no Suzuki guys there, right? Cowie or whatever. But yeah, so those bridges have, they have clear floors, and you can kind of look down at the racetrack as the bikes were going by. And then there's a second bridge. You have to go down a trail and you cross a second bridge. And that one leads to a platform that you kind of see the track going. You see the course of direction, both like three different directions. So it's like you see the guys going that way, and then in the middle they're going the other way. And it's really cool. So,
yeah, Mid-Ohio had a bridge. And I remember one time some drunk group decided to dump their ice chest on the bridge, and it went all over the racetrack, and they red flagged the session and had to clean it up. It's a nightmare.
Maybe that's why they do the membership thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Breathalyzer before you cross the bridge.
Yeah. So, besides that, there was a trail that you kind of like walk through the woods, and there was like these little spots where you could stop and check out the track. So
yeah, it's a pretty cool facility.
Man, that was an ordeal. But I did get to watch Q1 from the bridge, and that was pretty neat. And that's why I told you, the difference in the way Jake and Josh's bikes sounded. I guess, he kind of liked a lot more power cut than Jake does.
Yeah, we ended up taking a lot of that out. He's been asking for that all season because he just never gelled with a motorcycle. To just get to the point. He was always asking for that additional protection from the traction control because he was always fearful of what it would do if it broke loose, and the fear is a little bit unfounded because the bike has never done anything crazy, never high-sided them or high-sided Jake or anything like that. If anything, it's always kind of most crashes are low-side crashes, if any. We haven't really had that many crashes this year.
Yeah.
But so he asked for a lot of power cut, and then and in New Jersey too, we ended up taking a lot of it back out as his pace went forward, and it was the same thing at Barber. He ended up doing some low 24s in the dry, which was pretty decent. Matched his pace when he was leading the race in 18.
Yeah.
And so he was on his way, and then the rain came, and then we're back to square one again.
Right. He just, we'll talk about the riding more later, but I kind of remember him being like kind of a rain guy, right? Like he used to.
Nah, he was never really a rain guy.
No.
But at New Jersey, it just clicked, in 2018, and I was able to find some good settings for the electronics, and he just went. And I think he might have. I don't know if he had the record for the biggest gap, but it was pretty damn close, like a second or two off. I think he beat the entire field by 30 something seconds, if I recall. So yeah, he used to be really, really good after that in the wet, but I don't know. He just didn't find the groove this last weekend.
Yeah, okay. So go back to the facility real quick. The guys in there, they're like enthusiasts, right? Like they're either car or motorcycle enthusiasts. Most of them were a bunch of old guys, but they were super nice. And one of them, I swear I saw that guy on every floor. And when I got to the basement, I'm walking around and they have like replicas of the GT40 and that kind of stuff. And he's like, hey, you look like you're into bikes. Come check this out. And I go down a hallway that you're supposed to have a pass forward. And on the wall is this poster. And he literally just wanted to show me this. It was 9 out of the 10 Britons in one photo. And I guess they had a Britain event there a few years ago.
Wow.
It's like, man, that's not what you get at the Getty. You know what I mean? So
no, the Getty, you see, hey, stay right here. Don't lean over the
railing.
Don't
take pictures and
Yeah.
So it was just it just seemed like everybody there was super nice. They were friendly, welcoming, like, hey, here, if you go this way, just super nice.
Hey, Dustin, it's the South.
Southern hospitality is a real thing. Yes. It's been a while since I've been in the South, man. You notice I got rid of the accent again already, right? Like,
right.
Don't put Walker on.
I won't. He's not a magician with words.
No. He's going too fast to talk anyway.
Yeah, his brain works a lot faster than he can spit the words out.
Right. So, another unique thing of just outside the track. This is a total side note, but like that Buc-ee's place. What the heck is that? Like,
yeah, that seems to be like a tourist destination now,
dude. Yeah, it's like a Bass Pro Shop, 7-Eleven, donut shop, Pier 1 Imports, and a barbecue and a barbecue joint, all in a gas station. Like,
yes,
what?
Like, a gas station on steroids.
It's like you go in there, you get your breakfast burrito or whatever, and a pair of fishing tackle or whatever, like it's like, what? And some pottery.
That reminds me, I forgot to buy ammo when I was there. Damn it.
You probably could have bought it at Buc-ee's.
I probably could have. And there's the Bass Pro Shop right next door too.
Yeah, there was a Bass Pro Shop just outside the track, right?
I blew it. Monday I was supposed to get ammo. Instead I went shopping for a belt for the banquet.
Priorities. Well, a banquet, there's that team photo. I don't know if you want to bring that up now, but
yeah, it's kind of funny.
You're wearing a tie, man. Like, I didn't even know you owned a tie, first of all.
Well, I used to have dress blues, remember?
Like you almost looked respectable. Like,
I felt like security. Hey, you can't park here, sir. This is a VIP area.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Here, well, we've never really introduced the team, have we? Like pictures versus people.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So yeah, let's. I got a photo here. I can share it, and we can poke a little fun at everybody.
That sounds like a great idea.
Okay, where do we start? You want to start from left to right?
I think we should start left to right. Start with Lee.
Lee. So this is Lee right here.
Yep.
Do we focus on him?
Yeah. Let's.
That's Lee right here. So he's everything you like about Lee, you hate about Lee. He is like the most OCD guy on the team.
I was just gonna say that.
But OCD works with racing, and I'm a pretty OCD guy too. So everything works out great on our side of the tent. Now the other side, not so OCD. So Lee had to jump in there and kind of clean their bike up for the banquet. You see how shiny that thing is?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Lee.
Okay.
Never a tool out of place. All his towels are all dressed. Everything's just so. And one time he was looking at me kind of weird. I'm like, what's going on? And I had my elbow in the gas tank. He just finished cleaning it. I was trying to I was poking at the dash, setting some stuff. I walked away. He's all snarling and wiping down the tank.
That's funny.
Yeah, so that's basically Lee. He's a lot of fun. And then next to him is Fernando. That's his last name because his first name is Hey. So usually it's like, hey, Fernando, get that stuff. Hey, Fernando, can you put that sticker on the bike? Hey, Fernando, are those tires warmed up? Hey, Fernando, the generator's out of fuel. Hey, Fernando, you need to go get some more water.
Hey, Fernando, change the tires to slicks.
So, yeah, hey, Fernando, go get those tires. Take off those rain tires. Let's get some slicks on this bike. It's only pouring.
Oh, man.
He
does kind of look like a Fernando.
I wouldn't say he's the catch-all guy, but he's also electronics guy. His business is repairing kind of high-end electronics, and so it's also, hey, Fernando, the dash isn't working. Can you take it apart and see what's wrong? Oh yeah, this ribbon cable is not on there properly. I put it back.
First of all, there's no way you have a ribbon cable in your dash.
Yeah, have a ribbon cable in your dash.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Ribbon cables, where they feeds an LCD.
Okay.
Sometimes they're soldered in, sometimes they have a ribbon cable. Depends how they're assembled. But anyway, so that's Fernando. And here's something funny. See, Fernando's like one of the shortest guys on the team. See that right there?
Yeah.
He's standing on his toes for the photo.
Nice. He also looks like an extra for Miami Vice in this photo.
Well, yeah, that's Detective Fernando Hernandez. He can also bust you for pot.
Not in California.
Yeah. So next to him was Walker. We talk about him a lot. He and Lee too. Both these guys are CDL drivers. This guy here and this guy.
Yeah.
And I'm also a CDL driver. That'd be me right there. And so anyway, so he takes care of the truck and he's super patient. I think, not really, but he's the only guy I know that can put up with me 24/7. So he's got to be pretty patient, even though he's sometimes not so patient.
And he's the only guy on the team besides yourself that is basically full-time on the team.
Yeah, he started off part-time and then pretty much part-time turned to full-time because.
Well, it's actually like part-time, like as in literally part of the day, like most of the day, every day.
Yeah, it's not quite 24 hours a day, so it's got to be part-time, right? It's only like 14 hours a day. So anyway, so that's Walker there, and a lot of these guys look like they work at the high school, don't they?
I mean, Canfield definitely looks like a shop teacher.
Like a little bit of a shop teacher.
I don't know. Canfield kind of gives me the shop teacher vibe in this photo too.
And look at John; he's like the metal shop teacher.
Yeah, John's definitely metal shop. He's gonna make us make cubes out of casts.
Well, Walker looks like the high school custodian.
Well, he's the bus driver.
The bus driver, that's it.
Yeah.
Hey, you kids, shut up and sit down.
Yeah, don't make me turn this thing around.
Yeah, during the awards thing, I was like, what am I going to say? I didn't prepare a speech. I just get up there and wing it, and like I've always done. So I picked on the group. I'm like, this is like I think we have about 250 years experience on this group, cumulatively. then I said, when Tom's in there, it's about 350 years of experience. But anyway, I'll keep going along. So that's Walker. And then this guy here, you haven't seen him very much this year. He's the guy that's inside that square box. We just brought him out for this event. He's a Canadian that works remotely. That's Marshall. Yep. But he doesn't go by his first name, Darren. And would you go by your first name, Darren, if your first name was Darren?
I guess not. Yeah.
Yeah. So we spent 2 weeks together working on data, and I think I'd like to have him work remotely from now on.
Okay.
But no, he looks like the math teacher, doesn't he?
Biology
teacher. Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's Marshall. He, I signed him some tasks. Hey, man, I want to know what the total torque reduction is, including TC cut, anti-wheelie, this, that, whatever, and demand, and we'll go and make up some graph that we can look at.
Wow.
So he's pretty handy with a computer. I guess that's what he does in Canada for a living. I don't know, runs a team that contracts to the Department of Defense or something. I don't know about, but that's what he does full time. But for fun, he does this stuff.
How interesting that's his side hustle, like this racing.
Yeah,
so
working at the top level in the U.S. Superbike series is a little side gig.
Yeah.
Managing, so he basically manages all the back end stuff, all the base files for the bike, anything to do with the data and the engine management. He takes care of that, and then I basically collaborate with him on the strategies through the weekend.
So just a heads up,
go for both guys. Sorry.
Just a heads up. Stephen Ludwig said that it looks like somebody photoshopped your head onto somebody else's body in this photo.
Thanks, Stephen. I'll be sure to rip your hair out of your head next time I see you. Anyway, so next to him is Canfield. Which teacher do you think Canfield is?
I'm thinking he's a shop teacher. Or, you know what?
Gym teacher.
No. He looks like a drafting teacher, like a architecture.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be.
He just had to draw, the lines with that special pencil and stuff.
Yeah. That might work. He doesn't drink at all out of this whole group. We go out and he's a designated driver. He's Mr. Non-alcoholic beer. So he likes water that tastes bad without any of the fun.
Yeah, I'm non-alcoholic as well, but I'm not drinking that whatever.
Pseudo beer?
Yeah, I'm not. No, it's not.
Yeah. So he likes the pseudo beer. Apparently, if he does drink, he was going to make a toast with us at Barber. He grabbed a beer to make a toast. I was like, whoa, put that down. I don't want to start drinking. Apparently, he's on the wagon. I guess when he does drink, he likes to run around naked or something like that. He has flashbacks to high school. When they used to do the streak way back then.
Oh, man.
Most of our audience probably don't even know what the streak is. But.
So just a heads up, Mark Gagne just said he looks like he's a home ec teacher.
We'll get to him. Me, of course, everyone's already got their opinion of me. So we'll just jump over to Tom Halverson. So Tom Halverson, he's the Yamaha guy. I think his password is like Yamaha dude or something like that, but I won't say that.
Yeah.
Without him, I'm pretty sure he was there when the YA1 was doing the Fuji Ascent. The YA1 is the very first Yamaha in 1955. I'm pretty sure he was there helping those guys tune that thing, so that's how blue that guy is.
Well, Tom also, he does the job of like 6 people now. It's crazy. And those of you who are watching this that are club racers that like to earn Yamaha road race contingency, you can thank that guy for making sure it works out.
Yeah, no, he's the man when it comes to getting all that stuff done. He is definitely the nuts and bolts of Yamaha racing. Him and Jim Roach. You'd be shocked at how small that department is and how much work those guys do. And to come away with a few championships, is pretty damn good. So anyway, so then you got this guy here. I think he pulled up an MG midget, right, or MGB.
Yeah. He came from touring from his. Yeah, he was staying at his remote cabin or cottage, right? His
he's lucky he's good at racing, because otherwise I think he'd be doing some gardening. Somebody calling you?
Spam.
Okay. Anyway, yeah. So that's Jake the racer. He doesn't work on the bike at all, thank God. He works on the levers and the grip.
The loose nut on the seat.
Yeah. Then of course here's John Cornwell. He's a world famous suspension guy. He's been I think he said something like 15 or 16 world and US championships, maybe Canadian ones, on the suspension side. But this was his first championship as a crew chief, on the Superbike side. So that was pretty cool. I think he was pretty delighted with that. But he does look like the metal shop teacher. And what can I say about John? He comes up and he's got like 2 laptops, but then he keeps all his notes on a paper database.
Of course.
So he has the 2 laptops and he's got his paper notes, and they're spread apart across the whole damn truck. And if you give him 5 inches of bench space, he'll take over 12.
You know what? I have to say that I actually got to see some of that. So, yeah.
I'm like, John, what's this shock doing on top of my computer? I ran out of space. That's so anyway, yeah, but he's a super switched on guy and a lot of fun to work with as well. The whole team's a lot of fun to work with. And every team has a psycho killer, and that would be
well, you know what? I have laughed at this photo, this part of Will so much.
Look at that face.
I was like, I even told him today, I was like, dude, you look like you're a 10-year-old that somebody handed $100 to and gave him free reign unsupervised in a candy store. Like, either that or you've got.
When I see this face, I think evil.
Yes.
Creepy.
All right, zoom back in because I'm going to say the second part of that. Okay, so it's either the kid in the candy store thing, or he's like a psychopath serial killer that's got a frozen human head in his freezer at home.
Well, we have all these high school analogies, right? He's the guy in the Chevy mural van back in the 70s that hangs out across the high school.
Oh my goodness.
He's like 25 or 30, hangs out across the high school, creeping out, and all the cheerleaders walking by. But what happened is, I think he was a little bored at the banquet, so he kept going to the bar and kept getting mixed drinks, and he kept bringing me a beer every time he went. Like, I don't know if it was making himself feel better or what. I'm like, dude, quit bringing the beer over. I'm going to be too hammered to go up there and give my 1-minute speech. Man. So you can tell whenever he's drunk, he has that and he talks through those teeth too.
That's hilarious. I mean, I'm digging on the mustache thing though. That last little twist that he does, that makes it, that just pulls off the whole thing.
Yeah, he has a shop in Northern California called M-Works. Just the more serious side. And Mike Canfield's got his shop up there too. MC Technologies. Yep. And Fernando's got his electronic shop. But these 2 guys here have actually real working shops. They can build your bike, build your engine, do all that kind of stuff. And I'm pretty sure Will doesn't have that creepy look on his face when he shows up at the door, to go turn in your bike.
No.
I don't know.
I mean, Will and Mike both kind of collectively, between the 2 of them, most of the AFM riders kind of work with them in one way, shape, or form. I know typically Mike actually shows up and helps one guy, like he's like the dude's crew chief.
Yeah,
pretty fun. It's pretty fun, like talking smack with those guys when I see them.
Yeah. So anyway, that's our humble little team. Those 8 guys right there. They rock. They get the job done on 2 motorcycles. It's a lot of work. It's a pretty slim team compared to some others. Especially like World Superbike or even some of the other teams in the paddock. But these guys definitely get the job done. They're all have their little expertise, and we find that little bit of something that they do that helps the whole program.
Yeah, I notice each one kind of has their own, I think Will and Lee kind of focus on the number. Well, this year they focused on Josh's bike, and then
there were Cameron's guys last year.
Yeah,
Lee and myself, and then Walker,
and Mike.
Walker, Canfield, Mike, and John do Jake's bike, and Tom's the man at Yamaha, and Fernando is Hey Fernando.
Hey Fernando.
Yeah.
Fernando
I miss
is
Marshall because Marshall does Hey Marshall.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it was a great team effort for sure. I mean,
kudos those guys for doing a really good job all year.
Yeah, and it shows that all the prep you guys did in the off season paid off.
Yeah, I mean, we even spent time in the rain, which didn't seem to pay off that well. This last race, we kind of screwed up race 2 with the electronic side. Bad Marshall. And then it was me as well, but we overcompensated for some of the things that were going on in the heavy rain. And when the rain started letting up, the bike was just like a 600.
Yeah,
it was getting smoked.
Yeah.
As soon as they left the line, I'm like, uh-oh. I think we screwed this one up.
Well, I mean, going to race 1, I mean, that one was really something. I mean, Jake high-sided out of the lead, right? And then it was just a weird
low side, actually.
Was it low side?
Yeah, I lost the rear. And it's the same crash that Josh had. Same crash a bunch of guys had in that corner. And it's because it's a kind of a, I think riders are creatures of habit. And they'll just go and run the same lines, wet or dry, when you should kind of be a little bit. If you look at F1, I've used this before and some other thing that I did. But if you look at F1, they don't really run on the race line in the wet. They're a little bit off the race line. They run a wider sweep through the corner. Try to use some of the more virgin asphalt. Yeah. Because my take is the rubber builds up in a certain area, and then the water the water kind of pools up or sheets up on top of that, and can't get away from the tire fast enough. The cycles can't handle it. And so if you're on that race line, I think it's a lot easier to be caught out. And so the way that turn is, it's downhill and it drops down in there. And the guys are used to just slamming it in there and picking up the gas because it's downhill. The bike's already accelerating. So you go in there and you just slam it in there, and then you lose the rear. I've seen that same crash in the dry many times. It
also looked like there was kind of a river crossing the track right there.
Yeah, I mean, it was raining heavy, really, really heavy.
Yeah.
And but I wouldn't say it was unrideable, but it was pretty heavy, and you had to be careful what part of the track you're on. That's hence the challenge of racing in the wet. Not only can you have the talent of being smooth, but also picking like a supercross guy or motocross guy. They find every lap the terrain changes, and that's kind of the way it was that race. The terrain is changing, so you can't really just be on the same line every time. You have to go, oh, that place is really puddling up. I'll try to avoid that next go around.
Right.
So you have to be kind of aware of your surroundings. And a lot of guys, like I said, they just ride by habit, and it caught out both of our guys. They both crashed out. And then Jake had to do a pit stop, and he unlapped himself and finished 12th, which was good. Not that we needed the points. And it was kind of irrelevant. We just wanted to win all of them, but we couldn't.
Yeah, it was like I said, it was kind of weird because so many guys in that race crashed and picked themselves up, including the top 3 riders.
Top 4, I think, it crashed out and finished.
Yeah. So I mean, Cam Peterson, he was in the lead, crashed out of the lead. He and Skoltz did the same thing where they held the clutch while they were sliding across the ground, picked the thing up and kept going. I think Cam, when he did it, he was still in second. Like they were so far ahead that even after crashing, he picked it up. He was still in second. I was like, why is he still in second? Didn't he just?
Well, the gap was so big to everybody else. There was the guys who were going for it, and then was the guys who were trying to just hold on for dear life.
Right.
They had both mentalities. And I saw that. Jake was going for it. Didn't matter what the conditions were. He just got caught out in the downhill section. Or I think that would have been a pretty good win. I guess he said he came by and he saw we put up a plus 3.3, and he thought it said plus 0.3. So he tried to hammer another lap, and it hammered him. I think he could have kept on going and probably even won the thing if he would have been the same as the other guys, picked it up and went, but he had to pit in because his bike high-sided and broke one of the bars. We had to fix it real quick, and he went back out and still unlocked himself and finished 12th. So that was pretty good.
So, Matt was leading the thing, and for several laps in a row before he crashed, he was like doing the frantic arm wave along the straightaway. Tell me a little bit about that. Like, what's that about?
I have no freaking idea what he was doing, other than he was being dumb. I'm just pretty disappointed. He wasn't flailing around when he was in second, and then he started flailing around in first. So all of a sudden he wanted to stop the race when he got to the lead. And so I saw that. I'm like, what is he doing? I know it was wet, but he was 17 seconds out and he crashed. I know Jake was 3 seconds out and he crashed, but it wasn't 2 laps in the end. He could have slowed that thing down 5 seconds a lap and still won the race easily.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he didn't know what his pit board was doing and was freaking out, but if he would have kept his head down, not freaked out about the conditions and just concentrated on where the puddles were, he would have won that race without a doubt. 2 laps from the end, he starts freaking out and chucks the thing down the road.
Well, there used to be a rule overseas where like the leader could stop the race, right? Maybe that's.
I guess if it rains hard enough, we're overseas.
Well, do they still do that? I don't know if they do that.
I don't know. I haven't seen a rule like that.
Yeah, they had a thing. I can't remember if it was World Superbike or MotoGP, but the leader could stop the race if it was raining or something.
So you should go out like a bat out of hell for a few laps and just start waving your arms.
There you go.
That's a smart rule.
I think they changed it. Maybe it was something about like I don't know the specifics on it, but that was the speculation. Also, I saw a lot of chatter and actually got a phone call today to ask you this, but like they're saying that the track, a lot of fans thought the track conditions there were pretty dangerous, and they think the race should have been red flagged.
I don't know. Nobody got hurt. I think maybe one person in the 600 race or something like that. I mean,
yeah, a couple people.
Less than you see in the drive.
Rocco dislocated his shoulder in race 1, I think. And then I think Sunday morning, Richie Escalante broke his collarbone. But you're right. Most of them were just like, whoop, pick it up, keep going. Right? So
that's what I saw.
It was impressive, though, to see both those guys in the front. Oh, I think Baz crashed too, right? But all those guys crashed, picked themselves up. But like the fact that Campy and Skoltz both had the wherewithal while they're on the ground to hold the clutch the whole time. Like that
hold on to the clutch or hold on to the bike, go for a ride.
It looked like they were holding on to the clutch too. Like,
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're holding.
I don't know.
Maybe.
But I gotta give props to Matt though. Like that slide was forever.
Yeah,
like, I don't know
it was a good slide.
I don't know what kind of engine guards they're using, but they must be good.
Slippery ones.
Yeah.
Very slippery ones.
Yeah.
Because that thing just kept on going. You see was it Junior Cup where the guy fell down and he passed the other guy up? Slid past him?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it was definitely on the edge, I'd say. But everybody was circulating for sure.
Yeah.
That one downhill section was a little bit sketchy. But notice in race 3, nobody fell down. At least any consequence fell down in that. And it was still raining pretty good in race 3.
It seemed like by race 3, everybody kind of got a handle of riding in the rain at Barber.
Well, I think that's one of the things too, is we don't ride in the rain enough. So I don't know.
I mean, there's been some seasons where it was like, if you want rain, just schedule a MotoAmerica event, right? That's what.
Yeah. That was a few years ago. That was, I think, 15 or 16. That was a while ago. Yeah. Since then, we haven't had hardly any rain. I think we had a little misting at Laguna last year, and we had some rain possibly, but never had any real rain.
Yeah. So that stuff, those guys crashing and still finishing.
I don't know. We crashed 2 bikes. I wasn't running around the paddock screaming my brains out, telling everyone to stop.
Yeah, that was kind of colorful. I did not expect that, but what are you going to do? You know, I just told him what's what, right?
As you should.
Yeah. So, and you know, maybe take some more meds or something. I don't know.
As he should.
Okay. So, race 2, this was kind of interesting too, because leading up to the race, it was mostly dry, and they went out and did the sliding lap, and you come in. I was in the pit box basically by myself. I think Phil was there, Josh Heron's dad, and you're like, help me with this wheel, and I'm like, okay. So you're like, here, take this. I'm like, where am I going with it? You're like, take it to Josh. I was like, okay. So like, first of all, those Kappa tire warmers that you have, they're hot as balls. So like, I don't have gloves on like your crew members. Like I have this crew shirt. That's about it. And I run the thing out there and it's burning my hand. I'm like, where are we going, dude? So I take it out there and they're the slicks. So I'm kind of complicit in because I delivered.
Yeah, you know, I didn't see the sighting lap because I think they were showing something else on TV. So I was watching the previous 2 races and looked pretty wet. So we rolled out on wets. And then Josh went out to the sighting lap, and then the 2 guys, Will and Lee, report back, hey, Josh thinks we should go to slicks. I'm like, really? I go, is there a drive line for me? I didn't see it. And he's like, and then all of a sudden Josh gets on the radio. I'm like, okay. And he's all, hey man, do you think we should go on slicks? I go, well, you're the guy who's been on the track. He goes, it's pretty dry up in turn 2 and top of that last series of corners. I can't remember the numbers here off the top of my head, but anyway, I'm like, well, if you think it's going to dry up, I go, it's not supposed to start raining again, not for another hour. So maybe get a dry line. I have no idea.
Yeah.
So we ran the tires out there and they put them on, and yeah, the rest was terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, when I returned to the pit box, you know, during the warm up lap, you know, Corn Dog comes by and tries to fist bump you, like, hey, you see that?
Hey, good job. Yeah. I'm like,
and you said, no. You're like, I don't think so, man. This could go the other way really bad. I don't want to celebrate. Yeah. And it's like you knew it. You like the moment they rolled out, you're like, oh.
Oh, I saw like this is gonna work. I was watching the sighting lap. I'm like, this is terrible. This is gonna end badly. So then the race goes on, right? It starts to drizzle. And I think Josh might have got lapped by Perk.
He did. I was like, oh man.
22nd lap by Perk. So I was like, okay. And then Will's like, should I give him the inboard? I'm like, sure. He's like, I'm giving him the inboard. We can't afford to scratch up another bike.
Yeah.
It started raining.
Oh, it was raining pretty good too.
Yeah.
And Jake, you know, Jake started 13th, and you could see it during the race. Like he could not come off the corner. The thing was.
Yeah. What happened was, we have this new bit of software called Watchdog, and what it does, it turns on a soft limiter a certain distance above the slip target that you give the traction control. So you have the traction control on top of it. That sits this layer that's a limiter. And during race 1, it was spinning, spiking on the straightaways. And Josh had complained that, hey, the spins and spikes are freaking me out, and I can't go around the corner. You know, like it spins so much, you have no confidence when you get to the corner. And so we put the Watchdog target down a little bit lower, and it ended up being like a rev limiter, a premature rev limiter. The thing would not go down the straightaway at all. So I was hoping, hey, man, I hope he just chills out and doesn't try to catch him on the front, you know, because that could end badly. And I think Jake was smart enough to go, smash one up last time, not doing it again.
Right.
Yeah, so he chilled out.
I think after the race,
it was amazing he got third, because it was like riding a 400 against a leader bike, you know, maybe a 600 against the leader bike, and I think would not go forward.
Yeah, after the race, I think I heard you say something like you were going to put down that Watchdog.
Yeah, I'm shooting the Watchdog.
Yeah.
No, I went over to Marshall, like as soon as they let the clutch out in the first lap, I go, well, I think we screwed that one up.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
but we didn't know if it was exactly the Watchdog or the actual traction control target was too high or too low. But at the end, it turned out to be the good old dog. The dog was the dog.
Yeah, I mean, he finished third, and seriously, congrats to Cam Peterson for getting his first win on the Superbike.
Yeah, I know he rode good, and it shows a lot of talent riding in those conditions, and no fear. So I think he's got a lot of potential going forward.
Yeah, he was right there. So race 3, instead of starting 13th or whatever, Jake got to
start
third. So that kind of helped things maybe. But
yeah, we gave the bike some power.
He returned to doing Jake things by just disappearing. He had a good little scrap initially and then was gone.
Yeah, he went up to turn. He took off and got to second. Mm-hmm. And then just out of habit, when he got to turn 2, he backshifted first and almost launched himself. You probably saw that around turn 2.
Yeah.
Like, oh crap, and then he collected himself and went around the outside or wherever and then gone. Took him about 2 or 3 corners and he was gone. I think he had about 4 seconds, 3-point-something seconds in the first lap.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it was just ridiculous.
Yeah, and then, obviously Skoltz was putting down some pretty fast times consistently through the race.
Yep.
And usually this season we've watched, and like everybody else kind of puts in 1 or 2 flyers, and then they're like maybe a second slower the rest of the race. But Matt was right there banging them out.
Yeah, no, he did good. And I think Baz had the fastest lap of the race.
He did.
I think in race 3, because he crashed and then he put down some really good laps coming back.
Yeah, he crashed.
Still finished on the podium.
Yeah, he crashed the thing, and then he started getting going, and I was like, man, come on, Yates, like, because I know those guys, a privateer guy on a stock 1000, and you're like,
yeah, I would like to see him do good, but at the same time, I'm like, you can't have stock bikes beating Superbikes in our series. That's just embarrassing.
Yeah. But yeah, he blew by Yates, and Yates even looked over at him. Like,
yeah, he's like, well, what's going on here? Well, obviously, Baz has a lot of rain experience.
He said he moved over, got out of his way. He said he could hear him coming.
Baz has a lot of rain experience, and I'll bet you any amount of money that those guys on that team, the Ducati guys there's a couple of Italians there, and I guarantee they came equipped with a good rain mount.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and the rain's a bit of an equalizer. If you have chassis woes that don't work so good when you're in the dry, like, oh, the Ducati doesn't work on a bumpy track, or doesn't do this, doesn't do that. The rain kind of changes all that. Now it's how good a map you have, how good a rider do you have, how smooth can you be, and do you have the suspension that is good for the rain.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying that, and like if you look at Barber on Sunday, race 2, like there was a guy in the rain, Gabe Da Silva, like that guy was not a winner in the dry. Like everybody was like, who is that guy? And he was out there getting it done.
Remember, I have to tell a story, but it was many, many, many moons ago, like 1990 something, I think. And Dean Vincent, remember him from Willow Springs?
Yep.
Yeah, he finished, I think, 5th in the Super Sport class up at Laguna Seca. I don't know if he'd ever been there. It was raining. He just rode real smooth and did a really good job on his 750. Beat out a bunch of factory guys. I think it was 5th. I remember that race.
Well, if I recall correctly, Dean spent a lot of time commuting, whether it was raining or shining. So maybe it was just like commuting to him.
Well, maybe, but like the certain skills come out when it starts raining. You'll see some people shine, like Yates, for instance. He did a really good job in the wet.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Ashton was doing a great job for sure. Mm-hmm. And his dad was always pretty good in the wet too.
Yep.
And then so race 3, I think Josh finished at 10th. Like, I don't know what happened with him. I think he was high as 5th at one point, or 6th maybe. And then I don't know if he had a moment or if he crashed or what.
He ran off.
Yeah. Okay.
He ran off. I don't know if he outbroke himself or, got a little slippery and just ran straight and off into the grass and then back on again.
So, it's the end of the season. They do the championship stuff, or they do the podium ceremony, and then they did like they did at Laguna Seca last year. They present the big check to the stock 1,000 guy that did the best in Superbike.
Yeah,
Superbike Cup thing. And
yep.
Jake Lewis, man, like that team twice in a row is got, that team provided a bike where the guy that was on it got a check for 25 grand right there on the podium. A big check. Obviously.
Big cardboard check. Must have seen him go to the bank with that one.
Yeah.
Try to slide it in the ATM machine.
Yes. Yeah, deposit that in the ATM. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get it folded up a lot of times.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, man. They're doing a good job, obviously. Maybe they need to step up a Superbike and do that full time.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what their plans are with that. They're like a dealership in like BFE, Oklahoma.
Yeah. I think the Sun races in one of the smaller classes.
Yeah, Jarrett.
I don't know who.
Right, Jarrett Nassani. He races a 600.
Okay.
So his dad owns the team in the shop. I think Nassani actually has a full-time job and he just comes and races.
Oh, yeah.
So I think he's doing pretty well for a guy that doesn't race full time,
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people in our series don't race full time.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Right. Well, so that kind of leads me to like talking about some silly season stuff. Like, it's like that time of year, you see, it's almost like Wayne's original plan of sending Americans over to GP is kind of working because they sent Cameron over there last year, and SDK, the 600 champ, is going over there now to be a teammate with Cam next year. So
yeah, I saw him at the banquet. He came up and said hi because I had, when you're at the races, you don't have a lot of time to be going around shaking hands and doing all that kind of stuff. You're kind of concentrating on your team. You're doing a team a disservice if you're walking around and being everybody's buddy,
Right.
And so I don't have a chance to do too much of that. But at the banquet, it was kind of fun. He came over and said, "Hey, I want to introduce myself." I go, "Yeah, I recognize you." Blah blah blah. And I said, "Hey, man," don't be too discouraged if you go over there and you get spanked the first year. So those guys are serious. Don't go over there thinking you're going to win everything. Just go there and try as hard as you can, and I think you'll do good. It'll be hard.
Remains to be seen. It'll be hard, but he'll probably do well.
At least it gets him out there and he shows his colors. And if he gets a couple good runs, he might be able to hop, skip up. Yeah, he's young enough. It could be a GP bike in the future. Who the hell knows? It depends on how much he wants it.
Yeah,
he showed a lot of strength this year. Yeah,
he sure did. I mean, he went there and he spent the last couple of years just kind of banging it out with Richie Escalante, basically, right? So
yeah.
And I think the year before he was with those guys as well, but also with Hayden Gillum and PJ.
Right.
So I think he started the season late or something.
Right.
But I talked to Kyle Wyman. He's pretty done with that Ducati that he had. So I don't know when he plans on riding next year.
Yeah, I could see that. With those guys at Warhorse coming in, Ducati New York, I could see that they maybe sucked all the Ducati oxygen out of the room.
Right.
So if Kyle wants to continue, he probably should be good for him to change brands. Maybe Yamaha, since Yamaha owns every track record.
Right.
It's an easy bike to ride, and it's a relatively inexpensive bike to build. And you can't beat it for competitiveness per buck.
Well, with a crew like Kyle has, technically he could kind of do what Jason Aguilar had planned to do with you last year or this year, right? Like he could get himself an R1. You could help him with some technical stuff, maybe an engine and some electronic stuff, and send him on his way, right?
Paul knows electronics pretty good.
Right.
He worked with us last year,
right,
on Jake's side, and then he worked with Cameron and Yamaha. He was like the lead electronics guy there for a number of years and full time.
Right.
And so he knows his stuff. It's just a matter of getting the right combination of bits and parts and software and things like that to make the whole package come together.
Right. Yeah, I mean, even still, like, I mean, if you say he were to buy your swing arm, that would, like, all in, that would probably still be less than what he's got in that Ducati, right?
Well, I mean, you can get one from Suter that does basically
Yeah.
the same thing. You know, I'm not trying to be the swing arm guy anymore. You know, so if somebody comes to us and says, "Hey, look, I want to have your swing arm. Here's the rules. You have to sell me a swing arm." We'll sell them a swing arm. I'm not out looking to sell them.
Right.
You know, but you can get a Suter, or you can even go to a Yamaha Europe and buy one of their swing arms at the World Superbike prices, which is a price capped deal. You know, over there everything's price capped. The forks, the shock, the swing arm, all that stuff is a price cap to make it somewhat affordable. You know, you are racing Superbike, so it's not like you're racing a stock class at a club race. You know, you're supposed to be racing Superbikes, so you can buy all the proper parts. All that stuff's available. You just have to get after it relatively early.
So you know what? There's a few other teams and rumors going around as well. I mean, you know, I heard that one of the riders across the way is moving on, and you know, Bobby, I think. I don't know.
I haven't talked to him, so I don't know. You know, I don't do the rider contracts and things like that, and we're at the end of our contract as well. So
yeah.
I know that Yamaha is bouncing around a few different ideas for a title sponsor.
Okay.
And so they're even open to sponsorship. I guess the Supercross side or the motocross side was so successful, Ferrandis winning everything and getting a gigantic cardboard check as well. Probably
right.
more than 25K. Considerably more.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that took some of the budget and tied it up a bit over there. So I know that every team's looking for a little bit extra dough just to make everything come together. So who knows? I mean, you know, it is very silly season.
Yeah, like I said, silly season. And your answer when, you know, there's a bunch of questions about rider stuff, but with your team, the riders it basically comes down to that's Yamaha's call.
Final call. You know, they do the agreement, right? But
yeah.
You know, I have some input and say I absolutely cannot work with that guy, or yeah, that guy's cool, or you know, honestly, when Jake was picked, they came to me and said, "What do you think of Jake?" I said, "If you guys think he's good, I'm in." And that was the extent of it. You know, he didn't have a really great history, you know, but anyone can surprise you, right?
Right.
I mean, I was surprised. I didn't even know how old he was. I was surprised how young he was. And I'm like, yeah, this guy could probably get it done. And when he rode, it's like he rides very, very aggressive. So Jake wasn't like a kind of rider you want to motivate to ride harder. You kind of motivate him to calm down.
Right. Yeah, you see that guy in the pits walking around, and you would never know that he's an absolute maniac on a motorcycle.
Yeah, he's a serial killer on a motorcycle. You hear the Jaws music. He probably hears Jaws music in his head when he lets the clutch out.
Dude, he's such a maniac. Like and then you see him in the pits. He's just like, hey man, you know, like he's the coolest guy.
Yeah, he's a hippie.
What?
He's a hippie.
I don't know if he's a hippie. He's vegan.
Yeah.
Same thing. I don't know.
Actually, I like where he lives and that outdoorsy lifestyle. I really do. If I didn't have a shop in Huntington Beach, I had customers. If I was a motorcycle racer, I'd be living exactly where he is.
Yeah, I mean, cool. when he lived in San Diego, you know, if you asked him what he did to train, the answer was either surfing or motocross.
Yeah, exactly.
And now he's like, yeah, I just go hiking with my dog. Like,
well, we kind of encouraged him to stop motocrossing because we teach him a lot of bad habits.
Yeah.
And we had to start focusing him on road racing. It's completely different. It's a different discipline, and the riding is almost opposite.
Yeah, well, they hang off the wrong way.
Yeah, they use the wrong brake. They hang off the wrong way. I mean, they take the wrong line. I mean, everything's different.
Oh man. Okay, so we have some fan comments and stuff. So let's go through some of that.
Fans, we don't have any fans.
Whatever, man. People that are watching.
Yes.
Okay, so Vince Uria, is Josh coming back for next season?
Don't know.
Mm.
In progress.
Okay, David Doan, is GPS traction control a real thing?
No.
Okay. Let's see. Where do you get
We'll
one?
use it for track mapping. It's not even. I don't think it's even allowed in World Superbike. If it is allowed, nobody used it or don't use it. Maybe other than track mapping, and MotoGP is not allowed at all.
Really?
Well, I mean, it's not super reliable. So you got your 9 satellites, and then you don't get any satellites. You went under a bridge, and then the thing is got to go back to Kalman filtering to figure out where the hell you're at. You know, it's not super reliable for that instant, traction control calculations.
Well, for example, on the GPS, like on that I2M thing, I told you the GPS lap timer was kind of like that really optimistic girlfriend holding the stopwatch.
Was it?
Yeah.
Maybe your eyeballs, you had some surgery. Maybe those things were optimistic.
No. Like my laps showed that I was like quite a bit slow, like a second and a half slower than the dash did.
Really?
So, yep.
Huh,
The first day.
Why.
The second day was pretty
That
close.
doesn't make any sense because it usually has a circle of and coordinates. I mean, they're usually really accurate.
Yeah, usually, but this one was not. The first day, I don't know. Maybe
I've seen it at MotoAmerica. That's one place where the GPS has really been screwy. When you go back down the hill through the trees and stuff, sometimes you lose a signal, and then it cut. Remember, I was showing you also at Ridge. It was like one time the GPS was taking a shortcut.
Yeah.
Down the hill.
Yeah.
Like, oh, the new line. Yeah. So hence GPS traction control. Nah.
Okay. Brett Griffin wants to know where he can get one of these #1 Jake Gagne shirts.
Yeah, they were a limited thing for crew and some guys who pretend to be crew like you.
Hey, I did run the wheel out, so
because you were the only guy in the pit box.
Just because I was the guy standing there.
Yeah, I didn't want to run the wheel out because I don't want to be seen as complicit.
Nice.
So I ran you out instead.
Yeah, blame it on Coyner.
It's Coyner's decision.
Yeah. Okay. What brand has the best race tire? And don't be biased.
Race tire, like which level?
I guess Superbikes.
Superbikes? Boy, I mean, all you have really right now in the I guess in the Japanese championship they have Bridgestone, and Bridgestone brings out, I heard, the same technology as they had on their MotoGP bikes, and that was like the craziest, most awesome tire. They had the secret sauce for sure on rubber. Bridgestone did in MotoGP when they had it. I mean, they had also a lot of involvement in F1 and things like that. So, but then the Dunlop and Pirelli is like give and take, right? Our class is not at the same level as World Superbike. You can take basically 10 Cameron Bobiers and 10 Gagnes, and that's World Superbike. So you can imagine how much faster everyone would go. Let's say how much faster Jake would go if Cameron was here pushing him.
Right.
Both guys, I think, would have to step up their game just to beat each other, and that's the way World Superbike is. I mean, if we go over there and we get top 10, we're winners, So that makes the tires a little bit better, seem a little bit better. But in reality, we ran both, and they're very, very similar. I think the level of competition is just higher. So is there any other brand we should compare to? Michelin? They're not really used in the Superbike contest, maybe in Europe.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what
MotoGP, I guess they're pretty good.
I see a lot of guys. I see a lot of guys on Bridgestones in that World Endurance thing. I think the Yamaha team uses Bridgestones in that, right?
Yeah, I don't know which Bridgestone that is. I don't know if that's coming straight from Japan, through that race department. I don't know if they sacked that whole race department, or not. So I'm not sure which one that is, or they took some of that MotoGP technology and put it into those endurance tires. I'm not sure.
And Mark Johnson, customer of the shop, he says in that photo, you look like a principal.
Yeah, more like a vice principal.
Okay.
The vice principal's role is the badass, the principal is like, go talk to, I remember my vice principal, his name was Tom Vasella. And he's the guy, whenever you got in a fist fight, you'd be seeing this guy. And he was like the old, gym coach turned vice principal. Yeah, you were kind of scared of that dude. You don't want to really mess with him too much.
So another question is, what's new for next season besides defending the #1 plate?
For our bikes or for us as a team or?
Team, yep.
For the team.
Yeah.
I mean, we'd be a Superbike team. That's all I can think of. We may enter the Daytona 200.
Okay.
On R6.
Yeah, you know what? Let's talk about the R6 a little bit if you want.
Sure.
Okay, so Richard was gonna elaborate on this, but I think Richard has some R6s at the shop that he plans on building to MotoAmerica Super Sports spec.
Yeah, so earlier in the year, we're testing at Buttonwillow. Yamaha was filling me in on some plans for the R7. Back then it was called some code name or something like that. It wasn't the real deal yet. And then the R7 came out and they sacked the R6 as far as any further development.
Right.
And now they came out with that GYTR bike, which is an R6 race only.
Right.
So not a street bike. And then we were able to secure another form of race bike that we're developing here. And it's basically going to be one level up beyond the GYTR bike. And it's going to be the MotoAmerica spec, which includes the new spec is camshafts, velocity stacks, valve springs, milling, CNC, the combustion chamber, and maybe a little bit of cleanup porting as well. So we're going to build some bikes that are that new spec, and it should be considerably faster than a standard super sport spec, which is basically a head gasket and nothing else done or something like that. No velocity stack. So these things should be pretty good screamers and pretty competitive. Kit ECU, we'll tune them up on our dyno and do all that. So we're right in the middle of right now formulating the plan for that, like what the final spec is going to be, because we're waiting for the rules to come out.
Right.
But not that we can't build a bike for club racing, but let's be honest, the club level, you can do whatever the heck you want to your bike. Nobody tears the things down.
Especially if you race in Colorado.
Yes, wherever you want to race. More than likely, unless your neighbor knows what you're doing, your neighbor being that your competitor, and you ran the dude off the track and he really hates you, and he's got a bunch of money and he wants you torn down. Other than that, nobody's looking inside your engine. But MotoAmerica will, and they're working towards a controlled class. In other words, some twins, some triples, some inlines all together. The bigger bikes will probably have a controlled ECU where they control the output, throttle translation output kind of stuff. And then the littler bikes, the inlines, will be allowed some more stuff, like I talked about, camshafts, valve springs, special whatevers, and we'll be at the cutting edge of that. And so we have maybe about 13 of those bikes. And so we'll be building those things here pretty soon. And if anyone's interested, as the rules come out, then they can contact the OSIF, and I'm sure we'll, like I said, we're in the middle of formulating the plan now. So I think we're thinking about a couple of different names for this thing.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like the idea of calling it Attack Kit.
Attack dash kit.
Yeah,
that sounds right. Maybe your audience can come up with something a little better.
I don't know.
I was thinking Kit Plus.
Yeah.
So it's basically not just the GYTR bike, but it's a little bit more competitive. And I don't know. There's a few. Attack Kit sounds pretty cool though.
Yeah. So I mean, we were talking about how many R's look good on a sticker.
Yeah. We're talking about the RRR-R.
Yeah.
There are 6 R's in there. So
yeah, the R6.
You just have 6 R's to be an R6.
Right.
Pretty
Well,
lame.
the difference between the bike that you guys are going to build versus the GYTR kit bike.
Well, the GYTR is basically the R6, but as a race bike. It's got, I think they took the catalytic converter off it and took all the bodywork off it.
On it.
What's that?
It comes with an acropovic pipe body.
Yeah, it has an acro pipe on it. It
some
has
rear sets.
obviously some foot controls. I don't know whose they are. Probably something you have to buy from Europe if you fell down. But then I think they have some other stuff on a gas tap, and took away the key, and they put on a kit ECU and a kit harness. Yeah. It doesn't have any suspension that I saw in the release. Yeah. So it's basically another way for them to keep the R6 coming without it being a street bike.
Right.
And that bike's homologated.
The price point on it. Before. I saw a lot of whining from people about the price point or whatever, but if you look at what a brand new R6 cost a year ago, and then you add in all the crap they put on it, it's pretty close to what it would be.
Yeah, no, it'll be just like that. And then what you got to think about, I think a lot of people don't think about what it costs them to build a bike throughout the development of that motorcycle. In other words, they get a street bike, they're like, oh, I'm gonna go buy a pipe. Okay, how good a pipe do you want? There's anywhere between $1,000 to $2,000 to $6,000 for pipe. Then I gotta get foot controls. I have to get handlebars. Then I gotta go tune it. Oh, I need to get a kit ECU and a kit harness. I have to have someone install it. And the thing keeps going ka-ching, 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 nonstop. And then, I need some fork cartridges. I need a shock.
Yeah.
And I need some body work. And then I need someone to paint it. And on and on and on.
Somebody just
need some body work and someone to paint it, don't you?
Oh, who sent me this? I don't even know who this is, but they just texted me. I don't know. I don't even recognize this number, but they're suggesting you call it the RSAC.
RSAC.
Yeah, the Stanboli Attack kit.
The Stanboli, the RSAC.
R6.
I don't think it'll go over very well with the Yamaha.
And another guy says the LTD.
The LTD? I think it might be sued by Ford.
I know, right? I wonder who that was that texted me. I'm like, dude, who is that? Anyway.
They trying to sell you, did they tell you you're a winner of something or another?
No, I think it was an extended warranty.
The extended warranty, yeah. I get those phone calls.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, I think something like that, the price point is going to be, for something like that, I would imagine it'd be quite a bit more than the average club racer would want to spend on a track, on a club race bike, right? I mean, some club racers spend that kind of money.
They do. You'd be surprised.
Yes, oh, I'm not surprised.
There are a lot of guys who don't want a leader bike.
Oh.
It scares them. It's too competitive. It's too big for some of the little tracks.
It's so fun to ride, dude.
They are fun, but you have to have electronics just right, to make them fun. And so, I mean, I'm just telling you, there's some guys that are just like that. They'd much rather be in the mid-level bike. And maybe they don't want a triple or a twin or something like that wacky thing. They like that. The R6 got a pretty big following.
Yeah, it does.
So, there's, and it's not like we're trying to sell 2,000 of them.
Oh, that was Tony Blackhall. the guy that races the R6 with all the America and tribute stuff on his bike.
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah.
He's got the bayonet in his. Is that the guy with the bayonet in his name?
Probably, yeah. I think so.
A dagger, bayonet, something. Gerber.
They got a good program, man. That I was trying to, I probably shouldn't have, but I already told him, like, hey, dude, you need to call Attack at the end of the season, bro. Like I've seen your bikes, dude. You need to call Attack and have them buzz your bike. So sorry, Tony, but
yeah. So these R6s will be a little bit higher end than rolling out your street bike and slapping on a pipe.
Let's see. Oh, so sounds like he and his R6, and shout out to Josef and Attack, who will continue fitting his R6 with Attack products. Eric Schabel. I don't know who that is.
I don't know. I don't.
Customer of the shop.
Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of time to talk to the customers. Yosef does for sure.
You just swipe their card.
I just run the race team. So I spend money and Yosef makes money.
Yeah, there's some truth to that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like you're on the road all the time, so you gotta have somebody at the shop to keep the lights on.
Yeah. Keep the gears turning.
Yeah. So the R6 attack kit, R6R, R6 SEC?
No.
Like I'm trying to picture that in a sticker. Like, dude, that's
our sack. This is our sack. This is our sack right here. Pretty funny, but it's not going to fly.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So those as soon as the rules package comes out, you guys will start coming up with a spec for those things and maybe a delivered ready to race motorcycle kind of kit price, right?
Yeah, that's the idea.
Oh, it's kind of awesome.
Like basically they'll get all the kit parts that are available minus the transmission and the special alternator, because you can't use those in any of the series in the United States pretty much. Right. And it'll be ready to go and tuned. So no worries, you throw a leg over it and go racing.
Are you guys going to offer racers like an engine package, like if they want a spare engine or something?
That's TBD, because like crate engines are no longer available apparently. So you'd have to find yourself, if you want a spare engine, you have to find yourself an engine somewhere, which there's still a lot of R6s out there.
Oh yeah.
It'd be fairly simple to find an engine or build an engine up from parts and put all the kit parts in it and have a spare. So that wouldn't be too difficult.
Okay. Well, you know what, Richard? It's been fun. Congratulations on a second #1 plate in the shop. That's a nice piece of artwork behind you there.
Oh yeah, Canfield's supposed to come and get this thing. It doesn't fit in my office, Canfield. Come and get this stupid thing.
That thing is gigantical.
You know what though? I got this really cool letter from the president of Yamaha Motorsport.
Yeah.
Yeah, something about you guys rule and keep ruling. Pretty cool. I'm summarizing, of course. He did talk about the lineage of Yamaha and that's where I got the history of the Fuji Ascent, because it was in this letter. I had to look it up. Like, what's he talking about?
So there's a commenter that says that the R6 could be called the OW06.
OW06? Yeah,
because OW01 and OW02 were both full Yamaha race bikes that they made and sold.
Yeah, right. OW06.
OW06.
Good one, because OW is kind of the designation for the racing.
Yeah, maybe.
All the camshafts say OWU, OW88. I think.
Right on.
Yeah.
Nice work. Oh yeah, the Attack R6, Attack RR-RR.
Yeah, RRR. The pirate bike, the RRR.
Yeah, it comes with an eye patch.
Yeah.
No. I'm sure you guys will come up with something, and we'll have to do some website stuff for you. But
yeah, and by the way, Mike, he needs to come get that thing.
So Mike, dude, what are you waiting on?
We have this thing that I forgot when I was doing the whole team thing. Mike, he's got the white hair that goes like this big. We're all jealous.
Yeah,
he's like 100 and has more hair. Mike's like 100 years old and has more hair than everybody on the team.
Mike's got the best hair of everybody on the team.
So the good luck thing for the past few years for Mike is I keep telling him he sucks. Before every race, I go, dude, you suck. And he goes, I do suck. Because when he was working with Garrett, every time I would shake his hand and say, hey, good luck out there, something terrible would happen. So now I'm like, I'm not going to tell you good luck anymore because it's not working. So So hey, Mike, if you don't get that thing, you suck.
So we've had some comments like this on the Attack Yamaha Instagram page. Is the race team hiring? And there's a guy commenting right now, Ride JDM, that says, how does a mechanic start working on a race team?
Boy, you better.
You want to do that to yourself, first of all?
Yeah, I mean, you have to treat it like the way a lot of these niche jobs are. You have to kind of be an apprentice. You know how some people get a job by being an apprentice first, or being go in and you want to be in a certain field and you go work for free for a bit. As a matter of fact, I mean, Jim Roach, who runs Yamaha Racing, he was telling me the story of how he started working for free just to get his leg in the door.
Huh.
You know, and then he worked his way up the ladder. He didn't automatically walk in and they give him a glass, office, and he gets to kick his feet up and start writing some big checks. It doesn't start there. An apprenticeship thing. I think most guys, they started off, helping their buddy at club races for free, showing up, and then they're in the paddock and somebody knows them. They're not fist fighting. They're got their head down and they're working the whole time. They're not popping open the beer between tire changes.
Right.
So if they got their head down, they're doing a good job and they're always moving, somebody will notice. And then you just go at the end of the year, you go around, shake some hands, and introduce yourself. And you may end up with a job. Who knows? You may get to know all the other mechanics. Usually it's word of mouth. That's about it.
It's not just mechanics now, right? It's data people too. So
yeah, that one girl that's I can't remember her name. Was it Chloe?
Yep.
She came by and we gave her kind of a tour of our truck and our network and how we go about doing our business. And yeah, she's super motivated and seems pretty switched on, has a good degree, and talks like a million miles an hour. And talks, what I mean?
It's pretty funny introducing it to you guys, like you and Darren. It was like you're like, hey, you want to come check out the war room inside? And she's like, yeah. And then I didn't actually get to talk to her immediately after, but I saw her come out and it looked like she just left the ride at Disneyland. So
yeah. She's like, oh, I gotta go. I gotta be on the grid or something like that. I'm like, yeah, we're bored with you anyway.
Yeah.
No, I mean, people like that, I think it's really good for the sport. In the paddock, I mean, the technology's coming. Like there's a chassis dynamics thing, which is called MotoSpec, the software. Yeah. And a lot of guys on 600s are using it. And, there's a number of people already have it. They're learning it. And so they're learning about the chassis, learning about the electronics. And I mean, I talked to Melissa Paris quite a bit about what's got going on with her kit stuff, if she has a problem or wants to know a little bit more about the curves and things like that. So, I mean, everyone's trying to learn it. And
Melissa is funny because like she and I kind of do the same thing. I just deleted every other page of the kit PDF and just except for the ETV page,
yes,
like 21 or something. And so she took a screenshot of it and saved it as a JPEG. So she has that up, and then she has the matching software up, and she's like, she does the exact same thing on that I do.
Yeah, that's all you can do. And then when you record the data, then you can take a person like Chloe, right? What was her name? Chloe. She might be able to make something more out of it with the maths at the other end.
Right.
Say, okay, when I run this particular curve, I'm getting this torque shape or this throttle shape. So then you can sit there and you can pick out little, do a scatter chart or something and pick out little segments of that and start making. You can almost reverse engineer what those guys did inside the ECU by seeing the end result of all your changes. Yeah.
Okay, so I got a couple more questions. Actually, I have one statement. This guy, Ricky Von Ricky.
We don't do statements. We don't do questions.
He says he would.
Genius.
He said he would buy an Attack Kit R1 today.
Call Joseph.
There you go, dude. You can have an Attack Kit R1.
I have 4 here. We have 4 bikes here, and we have 9 more coming.
Yeah, he wants an R1. He wants an
R1. Oh, okay. Well,
I actually have an Attack Kit R1, and you need one.
Our Superbikes are all for sale at the end of the year.
There you go. And
they come with full support if you race MotoAmerica.
All right, Ricky Von Ricky. There you go. Call Joseph tomorrow. You'll get dialed in. Yeah. And then David Doan wants to know if you can address why Canfield looks like the old guy from the movie Up.
I haven't seen the movie Up. I'm going to watch.
It's like a Pixar movie. They're the guy with the balloons. Like, you've seen that.
I didn't see it.
You have a kid. Like you. Okay.
My kid likes race cars.
Okay, so now you're going to have to look up the movie Up so you can address that next time we talk.
He does like the Lego movies, though, where the criminals are being chased by the cops.
Okay. You go.
Seems to dig on that.
Right on, Richard. Well, you know what? I'm going to let you go, man. It's been fun. Congratulations on winning another #1 plate for the shop over there and all that. I mean, dude.
Yay. Yay, go team.
So what's left? I mean, honestly, dude, like you beat up on MotoAmerica. Like, let's go have an Attack World Superbike effort.
I'd like to. It's a different world for sure. I think that those cars might still be in the future. You don't know. We don't know how this thing's going to pan out on this end.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll run both. Muzzy did that one year. He ran both.
That's a lot of traveling.
Yeah, it's a very optimistic schedule, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. You never know.
To go. I think
Right,
I think Joseph might want to hire another person if that happened.
Yeah, maybe the guy was looking for a job in the paddock.
There you go. All right, Richard.
Later.